We are approaching 2 weeks since Hamas attacked Israel, and the atrocities happening in Gaza and Israel are getting harder to see and hear.
That's right. And this war has opened up a lot of old wounds for many people, and once again is highlighting the divide that exists on this very complex issue. In fact, you might find yourself wanting to have a conversation about the war, about what's going on, but sort of unsure of how to do so without offending someone. Joining us now on set, we have Kaitlin Soule, licensed marriage and family therapist and founder of Bay Area Modern Therapy. Kaitlin, my first question to you is, before you launch into a conversation with someone else on this, are there questions you should be asking yourself?
Yes, I think the most important question we can ask ourselves is, am I ready to have this conversation? And I know that seems a little bit tricky because we're all sort of forced to have this conversation right now, but our mental health is most important. So am I in a place to have this conversation? You know, is my emotion fairly low? It's impossible to be low right now on emotion. And am I able to think clearly? So maybe taking a couple deep breaths can be really helpful there too.
And a couple of those tips: is it a safe person to talk with? Is it going to be a productive conversation? Great questions to ask. We've heard this term, silence is violence. And with social media, there can be this pressure that you have to be out there, out in front, making your thoughts known. What do you think about that? And what's your advice to have a productive conversation if you want to?
I talk about that so often with my clients. There's this pressure to post or reshare. And I think what we have to, like I said before, is really consider our own mental health first. This isn't selfish. This is literally self-preservation. So how am I going to be able to have this conversation? So I think silence, there's sometimes a space for silence. When we don't know what we really think, we haven't gotten the right information. We want to make sure our sources are credible. So I think there is a time for silence and a time to speak when we feel ready and more informed.
And also that silence can be used to leverage other voices, right? To give people space who represent these communities, who are part of these communities, to have their narrative and story told. In just 10 seconds or less, is how we have these conversations important? In person, via text, thoughts?
So important. I think in person, when possible, is so much better. We don't have the same level of connection.
Yeah, we're on electronic media. That's great advice. Kaitlin Soule, we appreciate your time so much. Thank you.
And you are watching NBC News Daily.